Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Coach's Call. The PA boys are back. It's been a great week of college basketball. First of all, make sure you check out the Discord, follow us on TikTok, subscribe, and comment below what your thoughts are about the season so far. Teams to fade, teams to follow. Just hit us up. So we're gonna hop right into it. We got some housekeeping stuff with Kyle. Kyle, you want to take over?
Yeah, so far in our in-season tournaments, me and Puff have a combined record of, I believe right now it is three. Yes. Yes. So we have a combined record of 2-4 right now. So we got the Charleston Classic winner correct. We both picked Houston. We got the Legends Classic winner correct. We both picked Auburn. We did not get the Bahamas Championship correct. We both picked Providence. Miami won that one. We did not get the Continental Tires main event correct. We both picked Xavier, and San Diego State won that one.
Yeah,
And we did not get the Hall of Fame Tip-Off Classic correct. Puff had Northwestern. Puff had Washington State. I had Northwestern, and the winner was Mississippi State. And then the Empire Classic, we both had Texas, and UConn ended up winning the Empire Classic.
Yeah, we'll get that back to those tournaments later, but let's start off with a little recap. First, we had that Duke Michigan State game last week. The Pukies, they looked good. They looked good. I must say that it went exactly how I thought it was gonna go. I knew Michigan State would struggle against Duke with the size and everything. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it was a game where the first half, I mean, there was a lot of turnovers. It was really sloppy play. I don't think it was good defense. I do think it was sloppy play. So I think there was a lot of growth though by the Duke team in that as the final 5 minutes of that second half was the whole difference of that game. They went on a 12-0 run and they didn't look back, and they kept that about 7 to 12 point lead the entire second half. They ended up winning that game. So I love what I saw from my Duke Blue Devils. I think in a bright future. Michigan State, I'm pretty shocked with the slow start. I'm not gonna lie. Just seeing this team play right now is a little shocking. I mean, this team has been together for the last 3-4 years, and you expect them now that they're all seniors or fifth year seniors that they're going to be playing that they're their best basketball. But I mean, this team doesn't look like they improved at all in the offseason right now. So I'm really interested to see how Michigan State can improve throughout the season. But right now, I mean, it's a struggle. But they a week coming up later, we can talk. But they got a big game coming up on Thanksgiving Day that we need to talk about then later too.
Yeah. The next game I want to talk about, this team is one good guard away from being a top 25 team. They just got booted from the top 25, and that's Marquette versus Illinois. If Illinois had one good guard that could score and help Terrence Shannon Jr. out, this team would be so good, but they don't. And you can't rely on one man to score all your points. That showed a lot during this Marquette game. I think Marquette picked up where they left off last year. They have looked insanely good. There's a lot of talk for that Illinois game that Kolak wasn't going to play, and man, that kid is a warrior. He showed everybody how gritty he is and just how he can distribute the ball and everything. Marquette looked good. They looked good. What do you think?
Yeah, Marquette looked great. Illinois, a little iffy up and down, but the fact that Illinois was hanging in that game, that shows a lot of grit that this Illinois team has. Like I said, when you lose two starters like they did last year and not bringing anybody to replace them, I wouldn't expect them to get better. But they do look like they are potentially a better team than they were last year. Marquette right now, I think this team isn't even playing at its best. I think they can even play better than what they're playing at right now. And we're gonna see which a game we'll get into later tonight. They face Kansas tonight, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. You're gonna really see what this Marquette team is made of when they get to play Kansas tonight for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, they got the size, they got the guards, and they play like a well-rounded team. I think they're one of the best teams in college hoops. Next, we got A&M SMU. This is a game where I just smacked myself on the head, and I just charged this one to the game because I had SMU. I thought SMU was going to win outright. They were playing very well, but A&M might be that good, to be honest. That's one thing that I had to realize with this game is SMU did everything they could do to win this game, but they couldn't score. They went through a drought for about 10 minutes in this game where they couldn't score, and that killed them in the long run. But their defense showed to be what it is, though. I must say that. A&M, they got good defense. They could score. They're well-rounded. They got depth, which you don't see a lot in college basketball. They have a lot of depth, and I must say that A&M did look good.
Yeah, Texas A&M, I feel like this team right now, every single game they've played so far, they're doing just enough to get by. They're winning games by less than 10 points to teams that they should probably be blowing out. But right now, Texas A&M are very confusing to me. I don't really know what to expect from them, but right now, I mean, they're winning. They're going to continue to win. They got a big game coming up, which we'll talk about later. But Texas A&M, I mean, it's right now. I feel like you have to keep rolling with the Aggies because I mean they just keep doing just enough to win. SMU, I mean that's a team to look out for in the American. I think they're only going to get better. They need to improve on the shooting. I will say the shooting was pretty dreadful in that one. Shelby Harris cannot carry that team to victory. I mean, he can't score 50 points every single game for them. So they got to improve a lot on the offensive end from what I noticed.
Yeah, yep. And that's something that I expect them to do. And they're trapped. That trap they have, full court press,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably one of the best traps in college basketball. Next, we had this Kansas Kentucky game. Man, Kentucky, young, talented. Like I said, Calipari always stays in these games, no matter what. Whenever they're playing a team like that, he has a team this year that is very talented, and when they get clicking, they're gonna probably. I think they might win the SEC this year, to be honest. But we'll see when we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Kansas, though, they look good. They look good. That was a great game. I'm excited to see this Kansas. Is it Kansas Marquette tonight?
Yep. Yep.
That game's gonna be fire. But yeah, this game was everything I expected it to be. I think Kentucky, like I said, they got the size. Justin Edwards looked like a beast. They looked good. I'm not gonna lie. So, what do you think?
Yeah, Kentucky in this game, I mean, they looked absolutely fantastic. Did they blow the lead? Yes, but they're a young team going up against a very veteran Kansas team. That was to be expected in this one. But they showed grit, they showed heart, and I mean, they're a really, really good team. They're a really good team. Kansas right now, I don't think Kansas is the number one team in the country. I'm just going to come out here and say it. I don't think they're going to win the Maui. I don't think they're going to win tonight. I don't think they're playing like the number one team in the country. I don't even think they're playing like a top 10 team in the country. I'm just being completely honest with you. No hate against Kansas right now, but I want to see more from Kansas. I expected more, but I will admit losing a guard like Arterio Morris and having to adjust that quickly is very hard because his defensive presence is just it was just great. But I mean, he's no longer on the team, unfortunately, due to reasons that we don't need to mention. But I mean, Kansas has got to work around that, and I think they can. But right now, for how veteran this team is, I mean, Kevin McCullers Jr. and Dickinson has been the team so far, in my opinion. I think those two are carrying Kansas right now, and I think the other players got to step up.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I can't wait for when Big 12 play starts
Mm-hmm.
to see how they look against some of these other teams because you're seeing all these teams play out of conference games, and I'm just ready for it to get the conference play. Next, we had Iowa and Creighton. This was close to like the first half, but then Creighton showed that, hey, we're back. And we might have lost Nemhard, but we picked up what's his name?
Ashworth,
Ashworth, the
Stephen Ashworth.
Ashworth kid from Utah State. And I must say, they look good, man. Baylor Shireman, that Kalkbrenner, they have everybody back. Trent Alexander, they find ways to score. And that's how you win games. In college basketball, you score, you win games. And that sounds cliche, stupid as hell. You score, you win games. Make that a t-shirt. That's but I would lost a lot. So I can't bank too much on this game. But I must say I'm impressed with Creighton so far, and I think that they're going to win their conference this year, and they look very good.
I'm impressed with both of these teams. I mean, that game was fantastic. I mean, that was exciting. That place was electric. I mean, that you could argue that was the best game of the entire week. I mean, that was a fantastic basketball game. Back and forth they went. Points were scoring. Now, I will say these two teams need to figure it out on the defensive end because my word, the defense was ugly, but the offense, I mean, that was some elite offense, and I was not expecting that from Iowa at all. Iowa looked like a great team. They
Yeah,
really did look like a great team. I think Iowa's a team that we got to keep on our radar that could maybe. I don't know if they can win the Big Ten, but that's a team that right now, at least, you don't want to play Iowa right now. You absolutely do not want to play Iowa right now. So
yeah,
I mean, they're red hot, and I mean they can shoot. Those boys can absolutely shoot the lights out. So I right now I keep an eye out on Iowa because they can make some noise in the Big Ten, probably upset some teams. But Creighton, I mean, like you said, they look great. They do look great. I thought losing Ryan Nemhard was going to hurt them a little bit, but I think they are going to have to figure it out on the defensive end because the Big East Conference. I mean, there's a lot of good teams, and you can only outscore so many opponents, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Next, let's talk about Peter the Anteater and the UC Irvine Anteaters upsetting USC. Now, you can make a case for this game because USC was missing damn near everybody except for Collier. He had to do everything in this game. I watched this game. I bet UC Irvine at halftime to win, and I was damn near pulling my hair out watching the game. I'm not going to overreact because USC was missing too many guys. I will say though, Collier is easily going to be the number one pick this year for the draft. That kid is insane. He left it all out there. He had like 32 points or something. Still lost. But UC Irvine, I'm not reading into it too much. They looked good enough to win the game, but they aren't going to do anything. Uh, I'm not impressed with either team so far. I still think when USC gets healthy, they're going to be one of the best teams in basketball. It's just they're missing too much right now for me to put money on them or to do anything with them. What do you think?
Yeah, no, USC just I don't know. First two games of the season look fantastic. Look like they're going to be able to compete in the Pac-12. Last two games, I mean, they just have not looked good at all. And you mentioned the injuries and stuff, and Collier has to carry the team. But let's be honest, when you're barely beating Brown, like that's rough. That
Yeah,
is rough. So USC, I don't know what to think of this team right now. It's a big mess, and I really don't like. I have no idea. Stay away from USC. Yeah, stay away from USC right now because it's very confusing what this program is doing. UC Irvine, like you said, don't go too much into it. Just kind of like Weber State from the week before. Maybe
mm,
just keep a close eye on them for right now, but I don't think it's anything big there.
yeah, yeah. I agree. UNCG versus Arkansas. Arkansas, what happened? Like the lose to UNCG is kind of crazy, but it's early in the season, team full of transfers, gonna take a long time to gel. Like you see it with all these other teams. Kansas State's a prime example. They haven't fully got gelled together yet. And you can tell by all the turnovers, the miscommunications. Arkansas, they had the same problem happen. That game was rough to watch. UNCG though, I'll give them the credit because they played out of their mind. Arkansas was healthy. UNCG
Mhm.
looked really, really good in that game. I think UNCG is going to be a team to watch out for come tournament time. They aren't going to make a run, but they might be able to hang and cover for the first few games. So, what do you think?
Yeah, Arkansas, I think this is just a team where, like you said, it's a bunch of transfers coming in. But here's the issue. There's a bunch of transfers coming in that were all averaging just about over 20 points per game last season. So I really think these kids are trying to find what their role is on this Arkansas team because obviously not all of them can average 20 points per game. I think I really just think they need to figure out what their roles are. And once they do, I mean, this Arkansas team, like I said, I picked them to win the national championship. I'm still going to stand by it for right now. I have no reason to go against it. I just think they need more time to gel, and I think they need to figure out whose role is what, who's going to be that main scorer, who's going to be the more facilitator, who's going to be that lockdown defender. So I had no worries about Arkansas. Very rough game. great job by UNCG to walk into Arkansas and win, because that does not happen very often. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, yep. And then last year's Cinderella story, FAU to Bryant. It's kind of a head scratcher. I I think the FAU hype train is dead, officially dead. Like, I don't know. I don't even think they'll win their conference this year. I think that they'll lose to UAB, someone like that. Because UAB, man, they're the team to look out for. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. But Bryant looked good. They beat FAU. That's all I gotta say. FAU hype train is dead.
FAU, Bryan is a team. They're coming. They were D2, I believe it was 3 years ago. They're still making the transition into D1. There was multiple occasions last year where they looked good. I mean, they even beat a team by over 100 points last year. So Bryan is known to be this just scoring team, and just offense, and no defense. But the fact that they won a defensive game against FAU, which is supposed to be what FAU's like really known for, I mean, it's really shocking. So shout out to Bryant for that one. FAU, it's rough loss, but I mean, it's early in the season. I still think that team is very good, and I still think we got to keep an eye on FAU. You just can't throw them out of the water quite yet. But Bryant, definitely, I think Bryant's a mid-major team you got to watch out for, in my opinion.
Mid-major. I love my mid-majors, man. uh, so let's move on here to what's going on right now. Let's talk about the Maui Invitational. What are our thoughts? What's going on? I must say, Gonzaga did kick the living shit out of who is it, Tennessee? No, it wasn't Tennessee, it's Syracuse
Mm-hmm.
today. And they look good. I'm not gonna lie. Like you said, you texted me when this game was going on, you said Purdue and Gonzaga looked like two best teams in college basketball. And I agree with that 100%. Now, I did have Gonzaga win this tournament. They lost. It is what it is. But I'm impressed with Gonzaga. UCLA Marquette, that game was a lot closer than I expected. I thought Marquette was going to come in there and kick the brakes off that. But what do you think?
Yeah, no. So Gonzaga Purdue, that game yesterday, I mean, that was a fantastic basketball game. You want to watch good basketball, go back and rewatch that game. That was phenomenal. That was the best game of the year so far, in my opinion. What I watched there, the talent level that was playing on that court, and like I said, man, you can't sleep on Purdue. Purdue is for real. They are the real deal. I think that Purdue is the number one team in college basketball right now, and that's just my opinion straight there. Gonzaga, I definitely think they're not far behind, though. They're definitely a top 10 team. They might fall in the rankings because of a loss, but Gonzaga definitely, I mean, they beat the living hell out of Syracuse today, which is something Tennessee couldn't even do yesterday. The score looked big on Tennessee for yesterday, but Syracuse was in that game until the final 4 minutes of the game until they pulled away. The UCLA Marquette game, this is where I kind of said I was a little disappointed in Marquette. That's why I kind of said earlier, I don't think this team's playing at its highest potential yet. I'm not high on this UCLA team at all. They didn't return much. They only returned about 3 guys. It's a team with a lot of freshmen. Maybe UCLA is just better than I'm expecting them to be, or maybe Marquette just isn't that top tier team that I think they are. Like I said, I think Marquette just needs to find themselves, and I think you're really going to see tonight what Marquette is going to be really about for the rest of the season based off this game tonight against Kansas.
Yeah, I agree. I must say the spread for this Tennessee Purdue game does not make any sense. It's set at 3.5, and
It should be way higher.
Purdue's only favored by 3.5.
Yeah,
That's
but
telling me
I
that
think Purdue's going
Tennessee.
to kick the doors out of Tennessee. They're going to kick the doors right off of
Oh
Tennessee.
no, that's the line don't make sense.
Yeah. I think that second game is the game where you're really going to watch out for. Have a great close game.
Kansas Marquette.
I think that second game's where
that
it is.
Iguodaro
Iguodaro is a
matchup
beast. Yeah.
with Dickinson's gonna be
hmm
crazy. But I think the
Yeah.
guard play is where Marquette's gonna win that game, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you right now, Marquette money line. I'm a little hesitant. I was a little hesitant on it because of the performance last night, but I'm going to stick to my gut and I'm going to be taking that Marquette money line tonight to beat Kansas. I will say that.
All right, so next we got the Fort Myers tip-off. Wisconsin beat Virginia last night.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia choked against SMU heavy. Um, man, this is the battle of a team that I think's underrated versus a team that I think's overrated. I know I said Wisconsin was going to be good this year, but I have not seen anything special out of them. And I think that SMU defense is going to cause such a problem for Wisconsin tonight or tomorrow that I don't even think they'll hit 50. I really don't. I think Chucky Hepburn cannot score all their points, and Storr has not shown up to a single game this year. AJ Storr was the leading scorer for St. John's, transferred in Wisconsin. I thought that he was going to be the change, like he's going to be like a Terrence Shannon Jr. for Wisconsin, where he'd score everything, but he would have help around him. That's not the case. He has not looked good at all this season. Hopefully, he turns it around, proves me wrong because I had them going pretty far this year and doing big things. But I like SMU in this game a lot. I know I said that last week, and they got destroyed by A&M, but I think this is a different situation. So give me SMU.
Yeah, no, I gotta stick with my original pick, and I picked Wisconsin to win this tournament. So I gotta stick with my gut, and I gotta say Wisconsin's gonna do it. I had said, coming into this tournament, Wisconsin was gonna have two losses, and they're not looking to get a third. And so far, that's what it looks like. I mean, they just destroyed Virginia yesterday. From start to finish, they destroyed Virginia. It was a little close in the first 10 minutes, but after that, I mean, Wisconsin just walked away. Virginia's not a top 25 team at all. I don't know why they were ranked. I get they're unbeaten, but I mean, there's a lot of unbeaten. Yeah, so I got to stick with my gut here. Got to go with the Wisconsin Badgers. I saw a lot of positive in that game against Virginia. And like I said, I think SMU needs to figure out they're great defensively, fantastic defensively, but they got to figure out their offense. I don't think the offense is figured out yet. It was a great game against West Virginia, though, I will say.
Is this one of them games where we can come together and just take the under together
I think so.
and then
I
go to the bank?
definitely, I definitely think so we can take the under on this one. That's the game going to be tomorrow, 6 p.m. is going to be the championship. So,
Because
but yeah,
neither because
really
neither
like
team can
Wisconsin.
score.
Yeah, yeah, really like Wisconsin here. West Virginia, Virginia, please don't waste your time watching that for the love of God. Kirk Kriisa made a huge mistake leaving Arizona to go to West Virginia. I'll tell you that. Huge
Yeah,
mistake.
yeah, that's cool. Don't matter. Um, Next we have the Hall of Fame Classic, Boston College, Colorado State. The battle of two teams that are 4-0 that I really didn't expect. I'm kind of impressed with both of them. And then we got Creighton versus Loyola Chicago. So it's gonna be Creighton versus the winner of Boston College, Colorado State. What do you think?
Let me be honest with you. I think this is Creighton in a landslide right now. I will say I've been more impressed by Colorado State and Boston College. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that they can stop the Creighton offense. And I think whoever they play in that game, I think either or they can easily like I said earlier, there's not many teams they can outscore in the Big East. So I think they can easily outscore Boston College and Colorado State. So give me the Creighton Blue Jays to win this entire tournament in a landslide murder.
Yeah, I think Creighton's gonna beat Loyola Chicago by like 30. I don't
Yeah.
even know how they got invited to this tournament, to be honest. But here's my thing. Colorado State has looked very impressive this year. It's just they haven't played nobody. They won
Mhm.
just about
Yeah.
every game they have played this year by 30 points. So I think when they play Creighton, I think they'll beat Boston College and then they'll play Creighton. And I think that they'll cover against Creighton, but I think it'll be like a 10, 11 point spread. But I think Colorado State will cover. So give me Creighton to win it though. Then we
Mhm.
got the battle for Atlantis. This tournament is absolutely loaded though with competition and good games. You got North Carolina, North Iowa, Villanova versus Texas Tech, Michigan versus Memphis, and then Arkansas versus Stanford. Originally, I would have Arkansas to win this tournament,
Mhm.
but I did watch Texas Tech play this at the beginning of this season, and I must say that they look very good and are going under the radar a lot. Villanova's been struggling. I like North Carolina though to win this tournament. I know that goes against your will, but I love North Carolina to win this tournament. I think they got the size and the experience to do it.
Yeah, no, I can't. I want to disagree with you, but I mean, and I am going to disagree with you a little bit here. I think if I right now, like I said, how Arkansas is still trying to find their role. I would have said Arkansas. I mean, this is Arkansas's tournament to lose, and I still stand by that. I think this is Arkansas's tournament to lose, but I think the team that could sneak up on people and the team could sneak up on Arkansas and beat them is Memphis.
Yeah.
I absolutely despise. I hate North Carolina, but I despise Memphis too. I hate Penny Hardaway. I think he's a joke to college basketball. I think he needs to be banned from college basketball. I cannot stand Penny Hardaway at all. But I can't deny that his team looks very, very good right now. Normally I'm calling Memphis overrated as can be. I think their hype was just around Penny Hardaway, but this year the team that I've seen is they look like a very, very good basketball team. I'm gonna pick Arkansas to win the whole thing still. I still think that they're gonna find their ways, but don't be surprised by Memphis and your statement on North Carolina. It is very true. The Tar Heels, I have not been too impressed by them yet this year, but I do think I have seen enough to where out of these teams, I think they do have a chance if they play at their best that they can absolutely win this tournament. So,
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna talk about playing our best, Villanova, if they actually got everybody playing the way they should, they
mhm.
would win this tournament. But they still need a gel. They got a while to go before they get to that caliber.
Yeah.
Moving on, we got the NIT preseason tourney. Baylor, Oregon State, Florida Pitt. Oregon State, what the hell? Was it Jordan Pope coming out of nowhere, just putting like 25 a game? It's crazy. Oregon State looked good. They look good. I know at the beginning of the season we are like, yo, they're gonna be the worst team in the Pac-12, but I think Cal got them beat on that. But I must say, Oregon State has looked impressive, but they're gonna lose to Baylor. They're gonna lose to Baylor. I think they'll be a closer game than what a lot of people think, though. Then we got Florida versus Pitt. Give me Pitt. I think Pitt's a very underrated team this year. They got a lot of talent. I think Pitt wins this tournament. Actually, I think their size will cause a lot of problems for Baylor. They had a few good transfers come in, and they're starting to gel. They look good. So give me Pitt.
Yeah, no, this NIT tournament, very interesting. I do think Baylor is going to take it to Oregon State. Yes, Oregon State has looked good, but that's because one player is averaging about 25 to 30 points per game. If he doesn't do that, then I mean, Baylor wins by 30. But what you're saying about Pitt, I absolutely 100% agree. That Florida Pitt game is good. That's an intriguing game. I think that game could be really, really good. That's a game that's flying under the radar. Florida has looked honestly very good so far this year as well. I've been pretty impressed by this Florida team. Florida beat their rivals Florida State by 21 the other day, and Florida State just upset Colorado about 20 minutes ago. So Florida, keep an eye on Florida. I am going to pick Pitt to win this though too. Pitt's just look fantastic. I mean, right now Pitt looks like they can make a run in the ACC. I really like how Pitt has looked this year so far. And from my perspective right now, I think Pitt is the second best team in the ACC right now. And I think Pitt does defeat, same as you, Pitt defeats Baylor in the championship. They pull off the upset, and Pitt will probably be ranked by next Monday.
I like it. That's what I like to hear. And like I said, they got the size. They actually look good. They're what Louisville should be. But we're gonna get to Louisville later.
Mhm.
Um, then we got the ESPN Events Invitational happening down Florida. Man, this tournament got me so excited. This is like the battle. You just take every 8 and 9 possibility for March Madness this year and throw them in a tournament and say go at it. And that's what you get out of this tournament. It starts Thursday, starts Thanksgiving. Uh, Penn State A&M. Jeez, man.
Can't wait.
I,
Can't
I
wait.
said I said the beginning of the season, Penn State's my sleeper team. They got the transfers, they got the size, they have the depth that they're getting there. They're getting there. A&M, they looked like beast. We talked about that earlier. They look good. FAU Butler, not really too intrigued with this game, to be honest. Both teams haven't really played up to their potential this year, but they do has potential. Moving on, then we got Iowa State, VCU, and then Boise State, Virginia Tech. I love this Boise State team this year. They lost to Clemson. They got their ass kicked by Clemson, but I must say they hung in there first half. I think that they're starting to get it together. Who do you have winning this tournament and why?
I do have the Penn State Nittany Lions winning this tournament. And I'm not just saying this to make you happy. I really think that the Penn State Nittany Lions, this team's got it in them to win this tournament. I said Texas A&M has been doing just enough to get by. I don't think they're going to do enough to get by Penn State. I think we saw it it's a rematch of the March Madness game from last year where Penn State did win. So Texas A&M, the revenge factor is there, and those players that lost that game are there. So it's going to be a hard fought game, but I think Penn State's going to get the best of them again. And I think Penn State's going to win the whole tournament. I really like this team to win the whole tournament. On the other side of the bracket, Iowa State, VCU, Boise State, Virginia Tech. Honestly, you could flip a coin. I don't know who's coming out of that side of the bracket. Very intrigued though to see what this VCU team looks like as a mid-major team there in the A10. I want to see if they can really compete in the A10 this year, and I think this tournament's going to tell me if they can compete in the A10 this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give me Penn State to win this whole tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I would love to see Mike Rhodes versus VCU again because that matchup would be the one to see because it's a revenge, like you said, a revenge factor. The VCU against their old coach took over Penn State. Now that they're doing their thing. Also, Penn State is basically VCU's team from last year. Ace Baldwin, Nick Kern. They got a team that's balling.
Mm-hmm.
They look good. But I'm not taking either one of them. My team that's going to win this tournament is Iowa State. Iowa State can hoop. For me, it's the defense, and when I look at teams, I look at their defense first. If you can stop 2 to 3 guys on one team, you can win the game. You just let the other two get their points. If you can stop the other three from doing anything, you're going to win games. And Iowa State does that. I watched them play multiple times this year. They got the size. They run the court a lot. And when they get in transition, they can put up points. They're like Miami, but they play defense. So I think that's very dangerous. I think it'll be Penn State versus Iowa State in the final and flip a coin for that final, to be honest. But give me Iowa State to win this tourney. I think it'll be a close game though. Then we got the Rady Children's Invitational. You got Choklahoma versus Iowa, and that's Seton Hall versus USC. Man, if USC's healthy, they run away with this tournament. If they aren't, I think it's going to be Iowa, USC, regardless. I don't think Seton Hall is good this year. They have not looked impressive for the past 2-3 years, and I think that they're just continuing a downhill trend. What do you think?
Yeah, Seton Hall, Oklahoma. Haven't seen anything from them yet. I think that's easily going to be the third place game. I think you easily got Iowa, USC in that championship. And man, I said earlier, I was talking about Iowa. I love Iowa to win this. I think USC right now, they're not a dumpster fire by all means, not at all. But I don't know what's wrong with this team right now, other than a few minor injuries. But I mean, Isaiah Collier can score, but I mean, Iowa, I mean, they can just shoot the lights out, man. And I think Iowa's going to shoot their way to a victory in this tournament. Like I said earlier, keep an eye on the Hawkeyes, and I think they're going to show everybody by upsetting a top 25 team here in USC in the championship. So give me the Hawkeyes to win this one.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too. Last tournament we got Alabama, Ohio State, and then Oregon versus Santa Clara. Man, Santa Clara, WCC legends. I don't, I don't know, man. I do not know. Ohio State has not impressed me at all.
No.
I mean, they don't look good. They have a sophomore point guard now that did a lot of their stuff last year. He did everything for them. They lost a lot to the transfer portal. They did get Evan Mahaffey from Penn State though, which he's a baller. But I think for me personally, I think it's going to be Alabama versus Santa Clara in the final. And I'd like Alabama to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Santa Clara won this tournament. That's all I got to say.
I personally think this tournament is Alabama by a slaughter fest. I get your point with Santa Clara for sure. I think if they would win it, it wouldn't be as shocking. But I just think Alabama's offense right now is too much for anybody to stop. They're averaging 103 points per game. You know how impressive that is? Yeah, I get they haven't played anybody yet, but 103 points per game, that's unbelievable. So I think Alabama's offense is too much. I think this is Alabama by a long landslide here.
Yeah. Yep. So now, let's move on to a non-tournament game. That's Thanksgiving Day. We got Michigan State versus Arizona. Man, does Michigan State get a win against the top 25 team? What do you think? I don't know.
I'm
I
gonna
like
tell you
them in
right
this
now,
game.
I think we're in for a very, very, very great Thanksgiving at college basketball, NFL. But this game right here, Michigan State, Arizona, I think this is where you see the full circle come around. Arizona went ahead, they beat Duke. Duke went ahead and beat Michigan State. I think the full circle's coming back around. I think Michigan State's gonna go ahead and beat Arizona. I like Michigan State. You saw a lot from them against Butler. They looked like a really good team against Butler. They won by 20. They dominated from start to finish. Arizona right now, I do have them. They're ranked third in the country, and I think that's a perfect ranking for Arizona. I got them ranked third in the country. I think they are the third best team in the country, but I think they are going to slip up here and they're going to lose to Michigan State.
Yeah. Yep. So now let's hit the betting aspect side of
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go over the teams to fade, and then we'll just give our reasoning behind it. So me and Kyle, we both come up with this together, kind of. We brainstorm all of it. We come up with a list, 3 to 4 teams, fade, ride with, all that. First team we got to fade is Oklahoma State. That's something that we have done at the beginning of the season when they lost to who was it, Abilene Christian?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, when they lost to Abilene Christian, this is one of the moments where we watched that game, we realized this team is awful. Not only did they lose to Abilene Christian, but they can't score. They looked god awful. What do you think?
Oklahoma State's terrible. They're a bottom team in the Big 12. They I don't see any improvement coming. I think against really bad competition, you can expect them to win, but I think against decent non-power five schools, they're gonna be in trouble. And I think against power five schools, they're in deep, deep trouble. Fade the heck out of this team until they prove you wrong. And a team that is the next team I'm going to talk about, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, took overtime for them to beat Oklahoma State.
I was looking at that right
Like
now.
that's a sign. Fade Notre Dame hard. This team is terrible. I mean, Notre Dame has been pretty bad for the last couple of years. I want to say their program's in a rebuild mode, but like I don't even see like they don't even look like they have a future right now. They had JJ Starling last year and he just transferred off to Syracuse. They're not bringing in any recruits. Fade the heck out of Notre Dame, please.
Yeah, Notre Dame's definitely in a rebuild right now. That's why they got Shrewsbury in as their coach. And I must say, losing to Western Carolina and then losing to Auburn by like almost 40 is insane.
They're
That's
horrible.
that says a lot. That says
Like
a
they
lot about a team. If you're losing to Auburn by 40, that's
like I would fade Notre Dame more than Oklahoma State right now, and that says something. That really does say something.
yeah. And the only time they hit 70 points was against Niagara. It's just kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Then next we got the Maryland Terps. What the hell happened to Maryland?
Them and Nebraska are going to be fighting at the bottom for the bottom of the Big Ten, man. This Maryland team, they're also just horrible. There's no offense. I mean, there's no offense at all. They're like a 5 times worse Virginia. I mean, this is just Maryland's a train wreck. They lost. I mean, the transfers were there. They lost it all. Fade the heck out of Maryland. They do not look good at all right now.
They need to get Angel Reese back in there to take over her brother's spot because he can't hit a fucking free throw to save his life.
You're not
Seems
wrong, man.
horrible, man. Like they can't score over 60. That's bad. And we got Oregon. Oregon's a team. Their record doesn't show how bad they are. Like I watched them play. They can't score, but they're like Texas A&M, where they find ways to win games, but they have not looked impressive at all. So whenever you get a
I
chance to
mean,
fade Oregon this year, like when they play Santa Clara coming up, it's a perfect position to fade them. They might even lose. Um, Dana Altman's a good coach, but he doesn't have the talent that he's had in previous years. So I like Santa Clara to cover against them in their game coming up and possibly win that game.
Yeah, no, Oregon is, I mean, they almost lost to an 0-4 Florida A&M team yesterday. Like I've never even heard of Florida A&M in my life. Never even heard of this college. If you're almost losing to a college that I haven't heard, I don't care what your record is. You are going on my fade list and you belong in the trash can. That is where you belong. My goodness. Oregon, don't bet on Oregon, bet against Oregon.
Yep. And then let's hit the unders real quick. The unders are kind of similar to our teams to fade. We got Maryland on there. I'm gonna throw Oklahoma State on that list personally too, because they
Okay.
can't score. And when they play a shitty team, that game's definitely gonna soar under. Same thing with Maryland. And then we got Virginia. Virginia historically has been known for having low totals around that like 124 range to like 127. Like around there is where like all the totals are at. And they just can't. They struggle so much with scoring, but they play defense. And that's another reason why it's good to take their unders is because they play defense and can't score, which means 9 times out of 10 should go under.
Yeah, no, Virginia right now, let me tell you something. The Virginia unders are going to win us a lot of money this year, man. Virginia unders are going to win us a lot of money this year. This team yesterday, I mean, they just got embarrassed by Wisconsin.
Put up 41 points.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Virginia unders are going to be winning us a lot of money this year. They're got a, I mean, I'm not going to admit like they got a good defense. They're going to be a middle of the pack ACC team because of their defense. Their offense, it's bad and it's not going to, it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. Hammer those unders.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Next, we got the overs. You want to take it?
Yeah, the overs right now. Let's start off the Miami Hurricanes. The Miami Hurricanes, absolutely a team we want to be hitting the overs on. This team just can score, 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 but man, they cannot play defense at all. They're winning games right now like 100-80 every single time. Just beat Kansas State yesterday in the championship, 91-83. This is a team that I will say they have shocked me. They're playing a lot better than I expected. They're ranked 12th in the country right now. A well-deserved ranking for Miami, I will say. Great job for the Hurricanes so far. Maybe they'll keep it up. Maybe they're going to fade away. We're not 100% sure on that, but definitely take the over on Miami for right now for sure. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Nah, you're good. I agree with you 100%. See, the problem, what we thought at the beginning of the season was that Isaiah Wong carried this Miami team to where they were. But it seems like Nigel Pack has literally took the reins and just started scoring. like he put up like what, 30, 40 last night?
I
And
believe he had 37 last night, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
and
It was
and
around that.
that's something that is very, very impressive, and I must say that it's what I expected, but I didn't expect them to be dropping 37 a game. I expected around like 20, 25, but he's the man. And they don't play defense. So don't worry, teams that are playing against them will put up 70, 80 points, but at the same time, Miami averages like 90 a game, 90 to 100 a game. So those overs are going to cash for us this year. Then we got Alabama. You want LSU?
Yeah, Alabama. I mean, they're right now they haven't played a good opponent yet. So right now, once they play their first good opponent yet, I would recommend not betting the over on their first good opponent. I would like to wait and see once they play one good opponent. But right now, while they're playing these cupcake games, man, over, 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 over. They're averaging 103 points per game. They're clearly a good basketball team. They're not ranked right now. I will say though that Alabama, the Crimson Tide, I don't think they're going to be that heavy in the SEC. But for right now, with these cupcake teams, they're definitely smashing them, and they're not going to stop smashing them. So hammer the over on there.
Yeah, that Ohio State game, I think they might put up 130 against them.
It's a possibility. It really is.
Then you want to hit your Creighton team?
Yes, the Creighton Blue Jays, they did let us down on the over the other night. So we're going to take a slight break from Creighton, take 2 games off. We'll see what happens. We'll see what trend begins. So stay away from Creighton for right now. But they are playing the Loyola Chicago next game. So maybe you don't Here's my
dabble
advice,
into
right?
it.
Let me take the over for you in that game so you don't have to, in case it does go under.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, exactly. So let me take the risk for all of you, and then if it goes over, you hammer that over the next game. Creighton definitely a team you got to watch out for. Another team struggling on the defensive end, but man, their offense is clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Now let's hit my favorite part of college basketball, and that's these mid-major teams to look out for and to bet on because they are consistent cash cows. First, we got a team that we mutually agreed on, and that's James Madison. This team is so scrappy. And what they got going on down there right now between their football program, I know the football program lost this past weekend, but they're building a sports culture that is going to be unmatched in the future years. Like they're going to be getting recruits, transfers, everything because they want to go there for sports. They built a great culture, and I'm excited to see this team in the future. And this year they're going to win us a lot of money. Like they're so talented, scrappy, they can score. That Michigan State game, at first I thought it was a fluke. And then they struggled the game after, which you should expect. It's a letdown spot because they're riding high off that win. But ever since then, they have just been rolling. And that's why I think James Madison will be a team to watch out for in March.
Yeah, James Madison money lines right now are the way you want to go. This team is like Texas A&M. They just keep finding ways to win, and right now they're going to keep on rolling. So I mean, right now, the mid-major money line you want to be hitting is the James Madison money line. It's going to win you a lot of money right now. And until James Madison loses, I'm going to keep hammering it, and I hope you keep hammering it as well.
Yeah, yep. And then we got Richmond, the Spiders.
Really, really love what I saw from Richmond yesterday against Colorado. They put up a great fight. They didn't win in the end, but I have this team as a mid-major to keep an eye on. It's another A10 team like VCU, like Dayton. I think Richmond looked better than Dayton, in my opinion, although Dayton was facing the harder opponent in Houston. But right now, keep an eye on Richmond. Don't place any bets on them yet, though. No overs, no unders, no money lines. Just keep an eye on them for right now because that's a potential team you could be betting in about maybe a week or two.
It might have been the team to bet tonight. They're up 17-4 right now against
Wow.
UNLV.
Okay. Wow.
But yeah, I'm
So,
with you on this. That Boston College, like I said, Boston College not a bad basketball team this year. They were horrible last year, but this year I think Richmond they're gonna be solid. Um, they they hung in with Colorado and they're kicking the shit out of UNLV right now. So I think down the road, I think they'll win their conference this year and make the tournament like they normally do.
mhm.
So I'd like that. I like this team a lot this year. I think that they'll be good against these teams I ranked above them. Then we got the team we mutually agree on. Again, SMU. SMU's defense is top tier, but like we said earlier, they just gotta find ways to score. They find ways to score, then we're gonna make a lot of money off them come conference play.
Yeah, no. Right now, the play for SMU definitely the unders. I wouldn't mess with any overs. I wouldn't mess with the money line. I would just go under right now for SMU. Keep it small in SMU right now until they can figure out on the offensive end for sure.
And then we got UMass Law. UMass Law is a cash cow. I think they covered every game this year so far. They they should have made it to the tournament last year, but they lost to Vermont. And UMass Law has looked like an absolute tank of a team. They can score. They're they don't get the credit they deserve. So for that, I think UMass Law is going to make the tournament this year and beat Vermont, and they're going to make a run in the tournament. They should have beat Arizona State. They were up by like 10 with a minute left and lost by 9 in overtime. But that was just jitters, man. I think they're a team to watch out for. Kyle, you got anyone else?
No, that's going to be it right now for the mid majors. It's still early in the season, so that's why we have very few. We'll keep adding on as we go, and we'll keep taking off the list as we go as teams improve throughout the season. But that is all. I believe that's a wrap.
Yeah, I mean Liberty. I ain't gonna lie, I got one more, and that's
Okay.
Liberty. But Liberty's not a mid-major team to look out for because they do it every year.
Yeah.
Liberty
Yep.
does it every year, so I can't really say that's a mid-major team to look out for because it's a team that everybody should know about if you watch college hoops. But I guess, yeah, that is a wrap. It was an honor. Uh, like I said, follow us on TikTok. Check out the Discord. Subscribe to YouTube. Comment any thoughts, any hot takes, whatever. Comment and like the video. I appreciate everybody coming out watching. On that note, the PA boys are out. Have a good night.